Well, when we defeated Harper last September, we signaled that we had had more than enough of his extremism, his warmongering, his opposition to the peaceful resolution of conflict, and his declaration that anybody who didn't submit to his values wasn't really a Canadian and might even be a terrorist.
Shame.
So we did not defeat this Harper government to have more of the same. And that's what I want to talk about today. We didn't defeat the Harper government to have a continuation of Bill C-51. Bill C-51 was opposed by virtually every section of society, from the workers' movement to the human rights organizations, the academics, the legal scholars, you name it. And with one voice, people said that you can't have security based on giving police powers to the state in violation of the rule of law. And that's what we still have today with Bill C-51. So let's remember that that fight isn't over and that we have to work to defeat C-51 and demand that it be repealed. I want to also speak about the fact that Canada has just Dion just signed the export agreement for the largest arms deal, one of the largest arms deals Canada's ever made, to Saudi Arabia, a country that he pretends. So we know that Saudi Arabia violates the rights of its own citizens, or shall we say the House of Saud, oppresses its own citizens, has the worst record you could imagine on women's rights. And you know, they go to war quite happily in the name of women's rights all the time. So it just shows you how fraudulent all these things are. Saudi Arabia has carried on war against Yemen for the past year. It's killed thousands of civilians with cluster bombs on hospitals, on schools, in neighborhoods. And it's well known that it funds terrorists to go to carry out regime change in Syria. So not only did Dion claim fraudulently that he didn't have a choice in this, like he deliberately lied to Canadians, saying that the deal was already signed by the Harper government. And then we found out that on April the 8th, he actually signed all the export papers. So Edmonton Coalition Against War and Racism is saying and calling on everyone to demand that Dion resign. It's bad enough that you carry out a deal like this and then you claim that it's in the interest of giving jobs to Canadians. It's a very serious matter when you lie to Canadians and pretend that it was a done deal under Harper and you are the ones who have in fact carried it out. So we don't want a continuation of Harper's policies. We want a Canada that's going to stand for peace. We want a Canada that's not going to participate in wars for regime change. Since coming to office, the Trudeau government, far from carrying out its promise to end its involvement in Iraq, has actually stepped it up. And it's very much a part of the U.S. drive to balkanize the entire Middle East so that no one can withstand U.S. might. The U.S. empire is opposed right to the death to the peoples of the world exercising their sovereignty. And instead it follows might makes right. So here on International Workers' Day, we say that which we say for ourselves, we demand for the people of the whole world. When we say that we want the right to decide, that we want our sovereignty, that we don't want any, the foreign monopolies or anyone else imposing deals on Canada. We want this for the rest of the world, and we stand with all the people of the world who are fighting for their sovereignty, for their rights, against oppression, for the right to establish the kind of governments they want, the systems they want, where their people will not be forced to be refugees, will not be forced to be to flee from coups and dictatorship. and assaults on the very basis of humanity, which is your right to conscience. So we don't want Canada hitched to this war chariot. We want Canada as a factor for peace, to work for the peaceful resolution of disputes, to respect the sovereignty of other people, and defend the right to be of all peoples, including the Indigenous nations in Canada and the Palestinian people. Canada needs an anti-war government. Join us on May 7th as we call for Dion's resignation and an end to the arms deal with Syria. Thank you very much.